The moment the human touched the queen, every weapon in the chamber activated. No alarms. No warning lights. Just instant, silent death preparing to happen. Ethan Vale didn't even understand what he'd done at first. 1 second, he was crouched at the console, focused on stabilizing an unstable energy conduit. The system had been flickering for minutes, pulsing in uneven waves like it couldn't decide whether to cooperate or explode. Then it surged. Hard. The panel jolted under his hands. A sharp pulse shot through the structure. His balance shifted, and he fell. Straight backward. Straight into her. His hand collided with something warm, solid, unmistakably real. The queen. Time didn't slow. It stopped. Then the guards moved. A hand slammed his arm behind his back. His knees hit the floor with a painful crack. A blade hovered at his throat, humming with lethal precision. Do not move. The translator didn't soften it. I wasn't planning to, Ethan said quickly, breath tight. Moving feels like a terrible idea right now. No one reacted. Of course, no one reacted. Because this wasn't just a mistake. This was a violation. Across the galaxy, entire civilizations knew this rule. No one touches the queen. Not soldiers. Not diplomats. Not even her own kind without permission. And a human technician had just broken it. Silence filled the chamber. Heavy. Crushing. Ethan forced himself to breathe. Slow in. Slow out. He looked up. She hadn't moved. Still seated on her throne. Perfectly composed. But something had changed. Her eyes were on him. Sharp. Focused. Not angry. That was wrong. I can explain, Ethan said quickly. System surge. I slipped. Gravity betrayed me. There's a whole sequence here that makes me look slightly less stupid. Nothing. I also want to clarify, he added, because apparently survival instincts were optional now, that the touching was completely accidental. Extremely accidental. The guard's grip tightened. Ethan winced.
Right.
I'll stop talking.
Good plan.
Seconds stretched. Then, release him.
Her voice was calm.
Effortless. Absolute. The guard froze. My queen, he has. I am aware. That was enough. The grip vanished. Ethan stayed still for a moment, not out of caution, but because his brain hadn't processed it yet. He was alive. That's unexpected, he muttered, pushing himself up slowly. No one disagreed. The guard stepped back, but not far. Weapons still active. Still ready. Ethan raised his hand slightly. I would like to formally state, I am done touching things. Silence.
Then,
you touched me.
Her voice again.
Closer. Ethan nodded once.
Yes.
Briefly. Regretfully. With impressive timing. A pause. Then something shifted. She tilted her head slightly. Studying him. Not like a ruler judging a criminal. Like something trying to understand. You did not hesitate. I fell. You did not freeze. I panicked efficiently. Another pause. Longer. And then, something impossible happened. Her expression changed. Just slightly. Not anger. Not cold distance.
Curiosity.
Ethan felt it instantly. And somehow that was worse. Behind him, the system flickered again. A low, uneven hum. Still unstable. Still dangerous. Ethan glanced back. That's still a problem. The system can be repaired later, a guard said. Assuming we're all still here later, Ethan replied. No answer. The Queen's gaze shifted briefly to the panel, then back to him. You believe it remains unstable. I know it is, Ethan said. It's pretending to behave. You assign intent to a machine. I assign survival instincts to anything that can explode. Another pause.
Different this time.
Focused. On him. Continue. Ethan frowned. Continue what? Your repair. He blinked. You want me to fix it? You were assigned to do so. Yes, he said slowly, before I committed what should be a very punishable offense. And yet, she said, you remain. That's the confusing part.
Pause. Then,
do not waste it. Ethan exhaled.
Turned.
And crouched back at the console. because apparently surviving meant getting back to work. His hands hovered over the panel. More careful now. The system pulsed under his fingers. Unstable, but quieter. Like it was listening. Behind him, he felt her presence. Closer. Watching. You are more cautious. Experience helps, he said. Your earlier behavior did not reflect caution. My earlier behavior involved falling. A step. Closer. Ethan didn't turn. Didn't react. Because reacting felt dangerous. You assign uncertainty to all things. I live in uncertainty. And yet you did not hesitate. There it was again. Ethan paused. I didn't think, he said. That is insufficient. It's all I have. Silence. Heavy, but not hostile. You felt no barrier. Ethan exhaled slowly. Where I'm from, people are just people, he said. Titles don't exist in moments like that. You ignore boundaries. I respect them, he said. I just don't always have time to think about them. Another step. Now she was beside him. Not behind. Not distant. Beside. Ethan's hands stilled. The system hummed steady now. Stable. But that wasn't what mattered. The queen stood next to him. Closer than any rule allowed. And no one stopped her. You are unusual, she said. I've heard worse, Ethan muttered. Silence. Then, you will return tomorrow. He blinked. I will. You will continue your work. He nodded slowly. Right, normal. Very normal.
Pause. Then,
and we will continue this. Ethan frowned. This. Her gaze locked onto his. This curiosity. And in that moment, Ethan realized something far more dangerous than death had just begun. Because the queen wasn't angry. She wasn't offended. She wasn't punishing him. She was interested. And in a galaxy built on rules, that was the most dangerous thing of all. The second time Ethan Vale entered the queen's chamber, no one stopped him. No guards grabbed his arm. No weapons followed his movement. No voice warned him about rules he already broke. That should have made things easier. It didn't, because the first time he was escorted, this time he was expected. The massive doors opened without hesitation. No delay. No ceremony. Just recognition. Yeah, Ethan muttered under his breath. That's definitely not unsettling. Clarification. His translator whispered, unsettling indicates. Please don't, Ethan said quietly. He stepped inside. The chamber was unchanged. Same towering architecture. Same flowing light across the walls. Same quiet hum that made the entire space feel alive. But one thing was different. The throne was empty. Ethan stopped. Okay, he said under his breath. That's new. You observed change. Her voice came from his right. Not distant. Not elevated.
Close.
Ethan turned and froze. She wasn't on the throne. She was standing beside the console, waiting. That alone broke every expectation he had. Queens didn't wait. They were waited for. Right, Ethan said slowly, stepping forward. So, we've moved to a more informal setup? She didn't answer. She just watched him. That same steady gaze. Not cold. Not distant. Focused. Ethan approached carefully this time. Not because he was afraid, but because he had learned something important. This place didn't forgive mistakes. Even if she did. The system remained stable, she said. Ethan glanced at the panel. Smooth energy flow. No flickers. No spikes. Yeah, he nodded. Looks like it held. You corrected its behavior. I convinced it to stop fighting itself, Ethan replied. Temporary fix. Systems like this don't stay quiet forever. She studied him. You assign intent to machines. I assign patterns, he said. It just sounds less boring when I describe it that way. A pause. Then, you returned. Ethan shrugged slightly. You ask. That is not the same. Where I come from, he said, when someone important calls, we show up. Her head tilted slightly. And, you consider me important? Ethan paused. That question wasn't simple. It wasn't safe either. I consider you someone I shouldn't ignore, he said carefully. Silence followed. Then, that subtle shift again. Not a smile, but close enough to feel it. You have adapted, she said. I've learned, Ethan replied. Slight difference. How so? Adapting is reacting, he said. Learning is choosing what to do next time. And what would you choose? Ethan glanced at the console, then back at her. I try not to fall, he said. A pause. Then, she laughed. Soft, brief, but real. And the room changed. The tension didn't disappear. It transformed into something lighter, something alive. That was not your worst outcome, she said. No, Ethan admitted. Definitely not. Silence settled again. But it wasn't heavy anymore. It felt balanced, like the system behind them. There are those who believe you should have been punished, she said. I assumed that, Ethan replied. Still surprised I wasn't. They follow rules. So do I, he said. Just not fast enough. You broke a boundary. I tripped over it. Another pause. Then softer. And yet it changed something. Ethan didn't answer immediately, because he knew what she meant. Yeah, he said. It did. She stepped closer. Not slowly. Not testing. Just closing the distance. Ethan didn't move. Not frozen. Not afraid. He just stayed. You no longer hesitate, she said. I still hesitate, he replied. I just don't let it stop me. Her gaze locked onto his. You see me differently. Ethan exhaled slowly. I see you more clearly, he said. And what do you see? That question mattered. Ethan took a moment, then answered. Someone who isn't just a rule. Silence. Deep. Real. You changed your behavior, she said. I changed how I think, Ethan replied. Behavior follows that. And your fear? Ethan gave a small, careful smile. Still there, he said. Just quieter. She studied him. Longer this time. Then, you may remain. Ethan blinked. Remain? Within this vessel, she said. Your presence is valuable. He let out a short breath. That's a polite way of saying I'm useful. It is more than that. That made him pause, because her tone had changed again. Less distant. More intentional. Behind them, the system hummed. Steady. Stable. Controlled. Ethan glanced at it, then frowned slightly. That's not right. The Queen turned her head slightly. It is stable. No, Ethan said, already stepping toward it. It's pretending again. The light pulsed. Faint. Almost invisible. But there. It learned, he said quietly. Clarification, the translator whispered. Adaptive behavior detected. Yeah, Ethan said. I see it. He reached toward the panel, then stopped, because something felt wrong. Not the system. Something deeper. He slowly turned his head. The Queen was closer now. Closer than before. Watching him. Not with curiosity. Not anymore. Something stronger. You changed it, she said quietly. I stabilized it, Ethan replied. No. Her gaze didn't move. You affected it. Ethan frowned. That's not how systems work. The console pulsed again. This time, in rhythm. Not random. Not unstable. Rhythmic. Ethan's expression changed, because he recognized that rhythm. Immediately. His heartbeat. He didn't touch the panel. Didn't move. You felt no barrier, she said again. Ethan looked at her slowly. What are you saying? The system pulsed. Again. Perfectly aligned. And for the first time, Ethan understood something terrifying. This wasn't a repair anymore. This wasn't a mistake. This was a connection. The system pulsed again. Not random. Not unstable. Alive. Ethan didn't touch the panel. Didn't breathe for a second. Because now he knew. It wasn't reacting to damage. It was reacting to him. That's not possible, Ethan said quietly. The Queen didn't answer. She was watching him. Closer than before. Focused in a way that felt different. You affected it, she said again. I fixed it, Ethan replied. You changed it. The console pulsed. In rhythm. Ethan swallowed. That's my heartbeat. Silence. Heavy. Real. He stepped back slightly. Just enough to think. Just enough to breathe. Systems don't sync to people, he said. They don't respond like this. And yet it does, she said. Ethan looked at the panel again, then at his hand, then back at her. Something connected. Something he didn't understand. When I fell, he said slowly, the surge hit at the same time. She didn't interrupt. You said I felt no barrier, he continued. Maybe there wasn't one. The Queen stepped closer. Now, there was almost no space between them. You ignored the boundary, she said. I didn't see it, Ethan replied. That is the same thing. The system pulsed again. Stronger. Brighter. Ethan turned instantly. Okay, that's new. The energy flow spiked. Not violently, but intentionally. Like it was responding to attention. To thought. To presence. It's adapting, Ethan said.
To what? She asked.
He hesitated, then answered. Me. Silence filled the chamber. But it wasn't empty. It was building. Like something waiting to happen. You are not advanced, she said. Ethan blinked.
Wow.
Direct. Your species is considered physically inferior, she continued. Technologically behind. Yeah, Ethan nodded. We get that a lot. And yet, she said, stepping closer again, you changed something that should not be changeable. Ethan looked at the system, then back at her. We don't always follow the rules, he said quietly. That is inefficient. It's survival. The console pulsed again. This time, it stabilized further. Not struggling. Not compensating. Balanced. Ethan stared at it. That shouldn't happen. You doubt your own actions, she said. I doubt everything, Ethan replied. It keeps me alive. She studied him. Longer now.
Deeper.
You act without full understanding, she said. All the time, Ethan answered. You accept uncertainty. We live in it. Another pulse.
Soft.
Steady. Final. The system went completely stable. Not forced. Not controlled. At peace. Ethan exhaled slowly. That's done. No flicker. No hidden instability. Nothing pretending. Just working. The Queen didn't look at the console. She looked at him. You did not repair it, she said. Ethan frowned. Pretty sure I did. You resolved it.
He paused.
That's different. Yes. Ethan leaned back slightly against the console. Careful this time. Very careful. No offense, he said, but that makes even less sense. She stepped closer again, now directly in front of him. You saw no barrier, she said. You keep coming back to that. It matters. Ethan hesitated, then spoke slowly. Where I'm from, we don't treat people like untouchable things, he said, even if they're powerful. You removed distinction. I didn't think about it, he said. That is why.
Silence.
Then something shifted again. Not in the system. Not in the room. In her. You are not bound by perception, she said. I just react fast, Ethan replied. You act before fear defines your limits. Ethan let out a quiet breath. That sounds better than it feels. She moved closer. One final step. Now there was no space left. Ethan didn't move. Didn't step back. Didn't raise his hands. Because this time, he understood the moment. You fear consequence, she said. Very much, he replied. And yet, you remain. I was told not to waste it. Her gaze held his. Steady.
Clear.
Slowly. Deliberately. She raised her hand. Ethan froze. Not in panic. In awareness. Because this time, it wasn't an accident. Her fingers touched his hand.
Light.
Controlled. Intentional. The entire chamber reacted. The system flared. Then stabilized instantly. Stronger than before.
Perfect.
The guards didn't move. They couldn't. Because this wasn't a violation. This was permission. Ethan looked at their hands. Then at her. You just broke your own rule, he said quietly. No, she replied. Her voice calm.
Certain.
I changed it. Silence followed. But not the heavy kind. Not the dangerous kind. Something else. Something new. You are different, she said. Ethan gave a small smile. Yeah, he said. We get that a lot. She didn't step back. Neither did he. Because now, there was no boundary left to cross. And for the first time in the history of her empire, the Queen was no longer untouchable. Not because the law was broken, but because a human never believed in it to begin with.